Comic book movies in this day and age has seen its fair share of ups and downs over the years. During the 10 years of the MCU or DCU, you saw a lot of people have their reactions to them. I mean, of course, you can't talk about the MCU without mentioning where it all started with the 20th Century Fox films with the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and all that stuff, and more specifically X-Men. And with this movie, a lot of people were hoping, please get this right. Nothing else. Please just make this movie work. Because the last time you tried to debut this character, not happening. You better get it right.
I am very turned on right now.
He's gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you.
You are haunting.
You look like an avocado had sex with an older avocado.
Thank you.
Deadpool is directed by Tim Miller and written by Rhett, Reese, and Paul Wernick. The film stars Ryan Reynolds, Morena, Baccarin, Ed Skrein, TJ Miller, Gina Carano, and Brianna Hildebrand. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, a wisecracking mercenary gets experimented on and becomes immoral yet hideously scarred and sets out to track down the man who ruined his looks. Deadpool has been popular with Marvel readers since his inception back in 1990 by artist Rob Liefeld and writer Fabian Niciezi. Fans have been wanting the Mark with the Mouth to make his live-action debut for a very long time. With the success of the X-Men franchise, people were hoping, clamoring, please give us Deadpool. You already did so successful with the X-Men. Please give us the Merc with the Mouth. Well, 20th Century Fox said, well, you know what? We'll do that. We'll give you Deadpool. Luckily, not only would he be appearing in an X-Men movie, but Ryan Reynolds, who has stated multiple times that he has been a fan of Deadpool and has always wanted to play this character, would be portraying him in live action. Fans were happy. Fans were clamoring at that. People were excited to see Deadpool finally make his feature-length debut, or at the very least be appearing in an X-Men movie. Everything seems to be going well. Unfortunately, it was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Not only was the film poorly received as a Wolverine movie and as an X-Men film, it's considered to be the worst, not only in the X-Men series, but also just for Wolverine's trilogy as a whole, but left Deadpool fans pissed. He not only wasn't in his iconic costume that fans have grown to love about this character, it's synonymous of what Deadpool is supposed to be, but the thing that left fans mad is the most important thing about the character that people love, Marvel readers enjoy, and that is his mouth, as they have sewed it up. And that left fans just devastated. They thought that this was just the worst thing that could have ever happened to their beloved Deadpool. Afterwards, fans were both disappointed and had pretty much given up on the character even appearing, or some were protesting for another chance and hopefully be given the proper treatment. In 2014, a leaked CGI footage was released, and with Reynolds' own push, it was enough to give Deadpool fans what they wanted. In 2016, Deadpool would be released, as it would finally give fans what they've been asking for a long time. I was one of the few who saw this film when it came out in 2016. People, by in 2 years, this movie's going to be 10 years old. I already feel old already just by saying that, and I really enjoyed it for what it was worth. And cut to today, I still really enjoyed this movie. I still think that this is a very funny and very entertaining Marvel movie, but just an entertaining comic book movie. I do have my issues with this film. This is where people may either agree or disagree with me on my negatives with this, but before we get to that, here are some of the positives that I found. The performances are hilarious. Ryan Reynolds is excellent as Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool. Reynolds perfectly embodies the character's wacky, zany, and crass nature to a T. He was pretty much tailor-made for this role. Ryan Reynolds has had a career, but I really think that Deadpool is what solidified him in Hollywood with regards to being in much bigger movies and going on to find much more success because of this film, because he had faith in this. And Ryan Reynolds just seems like he is having the time of his life playing this role, and he just really loves playing Deadpool all around. And it's pretty much kind of been branding him as kind of doing the Deadpool kind of shtick that you kind of see him do. And that is just because he just really likes his character. He enjoys it. He finds it fun to play around with the Merc with the Mouth. Morena Baccarin is sweet and feisty as Vanessa, Wilson's girlfriend. Baccarin plays Vanessa as seductive but caring during emotional moments in the film. I think she does a good job of balancing out the humor that Ryan Reynolds brings, but also knowing when to be emotional at certain points. Both Reynolds and Baccarin are adorable and likable together. They have great romantic and comedic timing with each other. They just riff off each other so well, and they just give off a sense of you really buy these two as being a couple and actually really deeply caring for each other. As much as Wade Wilson can be just an asshole and a prick all around, you can tell how much he does care about this woman, and vice versa with Vanessa liking him. Ed Skrein is delightful and smarmy as Ajax. Skrein knows when to be fiendish and to get under Wilson's skin very easily. I mean, Ed Skrein is one of those actors that you wouldn't be surprised plays a villain a lot of the times because he just knows how to push the right buttons on people. And in this movie, he just knows how to kind of get under Wilson's skin, as does Wade Wilson as well. But it's very much just Ed Skrein just being as devilish and as clever with how he goes about it. TJ Miller is funny as Weasel, Wade's best friend. Miller brings his dry and sarcastic comedy to the film that he has been known for and that he brings to this movie, and he's an enjoyable part of this film. Both Reynolds and Miller are likable together and know how to riff off one another. Now, I know that there's some behind the scenes stuff between Reynolds and Miller, and I know as much as both have egos, one is worse than the other. Who I mean by worse, it's Miller. But I do think that even with those tensions between those two, I think they do well in those scenes together, and they just have great banters back and forth with one another with some off-color jokes or just brass natures towards each other. The direction is stellar. First-time director Tim Miller brings Deadpool to life and captures his chaos of fun throughout. What a debut indeed. Tim Miller, as of recently, hasn't had a lot of directing gigs, and I hope he does, because I do think that this was a good outing for him, and I do think that he has proven that he can really capture what a comic book character can be. So if he's ever given a chance to do a superhero movie, I think he can do that. I think it's just ever since Terminator Dark Fate, there's not been a lot that he has done with regards to directing movies, and I hope he gets another chance because I think he can do well. The action is exciting. Every action scene feels bloody and creative from each one. It makes for a fun time. When they made this movie R-rated, I mean, they went all out with the R rating. They wanted to make sure that no, Deadpool is bloody, is graphic, and they do that. They make sure that this character stays true to what he is known for in the comics, and every action scene with that is done justice with regards to how Wade Wilson goes about killing his enemies and how he incorporates comedy and his skillfulness with his katanas or his Desert Eagles. I think the action is just done well in that scenario. The writing is sharp. Writers Rhett, Reese, and Paul Wernick truly bring Deadpool's wit and humor on full display, all in full stride. I cannot tell you because I've never read the comics, but I can tell from some people who have, yeah, I can see where they really did make sure that this movie captures what Deadpool's nature is supposed to be. Both Reese and Wernick really understand what this character is supposed to be, and I think that's a good thing because if this had gone south so fast, this would have been terrible and devastating for Deadpool fans, and thankfully that's not the case. They did it well, they done it right, and that's a good sign. Fans are praising that, it's a good sign. The cinematography is fluent. Cinematographer Ken Son really frames the film like a comic book and captures the action all well. Also, the framing of the fourth wall breaks are done greatly. Throughout this movie, there is fourth wall breaks. That is what Deadpool is known for. Him and She-Hulk are famous for that, but really Deadpool is what a lot of people usually think of. And the fourth wall breaks, they're great. They're all framed in a way that makes you do feel like he is talking to you, the audience. It doesn't feel like, he's not noticing the camera or he's just purposely ignoring it. He directly looks at you and is like, who the hell are you? And it's great. It's done with the proper care with how the framing of these shots are supposed to look. The music is great. Composer Tom Hollenberg crafts a score that blends the comedy and intensity of Deadpool. Also, the licensed soundtrack fits perfectly with what the character is supposed to be. From what I've heard about Deadpool and his nature, it doesn't surprise me that this soundtrack would sound a lot like how I think it would go, and it does. It fits perfectly on how it's supposed to be, but with that score, I think it does complement, again, that comedy, that intensity that Deadpool is well known for Marvel readers. The production is impressive. For a budget of $58 million, it's amazing on how much work was put into this film, because usually comic book movies have a higher budget, with this being only under, not even 100 million, under 60 million. That's insane. That's crazy to think that a comic book movie would have this low of a budget, proving that even with a low budget, it all looks amazing. It all looks of high quality for the most part. I say for the most part because we'll save my one issue with it in a bit, but it's all done amazingly. I think it's done very well with regards to capturing the look and style of not just even the X-Men series, but just Deadpool. It's all done well. Though entertained, there are a few issues that I have with this film. Having rewatched it again, I've now kind of started to notice some of the problems that I do see with it. So here are the negatives that I saw. The story is, for me, a little bit generic. Though I enjoy the romance between Wade and Vanessa, it does kind of follow the templates of an origin story that you kind of see and know nowadays. And as for me, as of today, I'm just kind of tired of origin stories. Like, I get this is your first shot, and I'm not saying that the story is outrageous bad, but I mean, it is following the template that you see a lot of times in comic book movies today. And I just kind of wish that comic book movies just try to kind of get out of that groove because it just kind of feels like they're following the template every time. The visuals aren't great. It is impressive with the production. Don't get me wrong. I am not denying it is amazing with how much they are able to accomplish with that budget. But the visuals just don't look always that good. They kind of looked like Xbox One, PlayStation 4 graphics to me. They kind of felt too smooth. They kind of felt very video gamey-esque with regards to how the visuals did kind of look and come off. I get it. It's not a high budget. I understand, but it is a very noticeable one that it does start to detract from me. The villain is one note. While Ed Skrein is enjoyable, and I did laugh at him because I get it, he's a joke of a character. There's not really anything special about him. That's just it. He's just a joke, and that's it. There's nothing else to this character. I never found him super scary or intimidating. I just kind of was like, alright, he's just generic British guy. That's it. Maybe in the comics he's different, but here he's just a one-note villain. There's nothing else to him. A better outing than his debut, for sure. I think Deadpool fans will not deny that at all. Tim Miller does justice to the Merc with the Mouth fans, though the issues stand out. It's a good one. I am at the very least happy that Deadpool fans got a chance to show the world this is what Deadpool is. This is what he is supposed to be. And I'm glad that I got a chance to see the proper version, because if I had only known about the X-Men Origins Wolverine, Deadpool fans would probably crucify my ass. But overall, I had a fun time with this. This will always kind of hold a special place in my heart. For that, I'm going to give Deadpool a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. I think it is a good outing for Deadpool. I think there could be some issues that they can fix. But as it stands, I think this is the best that you're going to get for a Deadpool movie. If people think that they can do better, man, I don't think you can. This is just impossible. Especially for the troubles that this movie went through with regards to getting made. I mean, I think people should just be kind of glad that they did make it. So now I will be giving my review for Deadpool 2 and then soon Deadpool and Wolverine. So yes, look forward to those reviews and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.